be hard-pressed to get much worse. Remember a couple weeks ago, we were talking about when the Eagles were going to play them. We were talking about the Giants' rush defense and saying, oh, how good it was. And the Giants' rush defense then over the next 2 weeks proceeded to give up nearly 400 yards. And they were into the top of the league as far as yards per game going into that contest. So they were already bad on that side of the ball. And then when you look at what happened with their pass defense, I mean, 7 touchdown passes. They could have given up even more. I mean, had the game gone into overtime, you would have been surprised they didn't give up 8. I mean, it's an NFL record. So to be as bad as that pass defense was, I mean, it was talent. It was a lack of talent and a lack of discipline and coverage. I mean, they were making errors left and right. It was. Like you said, it was an Arena League game that set football back in a lot of ways by a good amount of time.
Yeah, well, obviously, offensively, the Giants played pretty well. The Saints played very well offensively as well, but 52-49. The irony is no field goals all game long until the game winner to ice that thing. There's a penalty. They pick up the flag. They don't. Again, poor officiating or just officiating that just seems so incompetent each and every game, Casey.
Yeah, we were talking on Twitter. I was talking to a bunch of different people about it. Was in every game. It was, oh, they missed this call. Oh, they missed that call. Oh, they missed this call. Between that and the fact that yesterday, somebody called yesterday Body Bag Sunday, the volume of injuries, it was incredible how many big name players were getting injured. Fantasy football owners were absolutely pulling their hair out yesterday.
Well, obviously the Giants moving forward here, I don't know what they can do on the defensive side of the ball if getting JPP is going to help them back at all, but they seem like their big struggles, not only can they not rush the passer, they just can't cover. They're asking, I feel bad for Landon Collins almost. They got him just completely playing the wrong style for what he's suited for.
Yeah, he came from that Alabama program where, he is playing a certain style there, and no, but you'd be hard-pressed, like you said, and you're getting no pass rush like that, and the Saints are finally getting back to where they are. And, there's definitely a shootout game. The offense, I give credit to the Giants' offense for scoring a bunch of points and things, but when you've got a defense that's playing that bad, your offense needs to slow the game down. And the Giants right now, they're such a pass-heavy team, you can't ask that defense to play that style. You need to be like the Cowboys were last year and be a run-heavy team. But even with the 4 running backs, 4 until Darkwood gets hurt, until the 4 running back committee that they have in the backfield, they still can't get the running game going. So the Giants have problems because the only way that they can, the only thing they can do on offense is throw the football too. So there may be more shootouts in their future.
All right, long term for them, arrow up or down?
Down. If you can't stop the run like they did, and then you can't protect your pass defense like they have, arrow is pointing down. I thought a few weeks ago that they were the favorites to win the NFC East, but the defense, the way it's just completely imploded in the past couple of weeks, unless they get some major improvements there, they're going to be getting in shootouts the rest of the season, and shootouts are 50-50 propositions at best. So, I think they're going to lose a few games of that nature, and, I could see a 7-9 record for them.
All right, so that Arena League game followed up on Fox with a game that was just pathetic offensively. What are you seeing Dallas's offense with Matt Castle? Were they better off just sticking with Whedon, or do you see some signs of Castle's turning a corner here? Because, that was a bad effort yesterday.
Well, here's the thing. If you put Castle or if you put Whedon in there, you're going to have to deal with his bad decisions, which are what I define as quarterbacks making mental errors that lead to turnover opportunities for the opposing team. So, Whedon has a very high bad decision rate. He's going to throw a lot of passes into coverage. But when it comes to Castle, give up on your deep passing game because yesterday, according to ESPN stats information, he was only the 4th quarterback this year who didn't complete a pass that traveled 10 or more yards downfield in a game. And we talked last week about how bad he's been since 2009. He's arguably the worst downfield passer in the NFL. So even with Bryant back in the game, Seattle just said we're going to double Bryant. We're taking him out of the game. You're not going to be able to throw to him, period. But if that's the case, great. Somebody else should be open deep. And if they were, Castle couldn't find him.
He was painful to watch. They were painful to watch. They got all sorts of problems in the passing game. They're going to play the Eagles this week. Did you take anything from that game? Because they've played some good defense. Are the Eagles going to struggle to move the ball and put points on that Cowboys defense?
If the Eagles' offensive line, if it run blocks the way it has the past few weeks, and if it pass blocks the way it has at some points in the past, no. Because Seattle's problem is run blocking and pass blocking and just any blocking in general. Their pass blocking is arguably the worst in the league, and their run blocking has been very inconsistent. They're near the bottom of my good blocking rate metric. So in the bottom of the league. So, I mean, if you get a good offensive line play going against that Cowboys defense, you can exploit it. But if you don't have any good offensive line play, like the Seattle lacked yesterday and like they have all season long, you're going to have problems. So, Eagles, I don't worry so much about the Eagles because I think their offensive line is going to play a lot better, especially on the run.
All right, arrow pointing up or down for Dallas?
Down until I don't know when you lose what is it 5 straight. I don't know how you could be pointing any further downward. But.
Well, I mean, do you feel optimistic? Or I don't want to say optimistic. It should be a horrible word to use for that team. In fact, there's a report that the Cowboys website had to put out to say that they're not expecting to move to Kellen Moore. I mean, they're already talking about going to a third quarterback down there.
As bad as their quarterback's been playing, absolutely. And you'd think with the offensive line that they have, you would think that if any team could survive a quarterback change, you would think it'd be the Cowboys, but they can't do it. I mean, look at the Steelers. The Steelers, when Roethlisberger was out, they went 2-2. They could have gone 1-3. They could have even gone 0-4, but they could have gone 4-0 in those games too. Had a couple things gone their way. So, but because they were getting some very good offensive line play, and they were getting good play from Landry Jones or Michael Vick. So. The Cowboys, it's a matter of, you guys should be able to do better than you are. It is bad quarterback play, but your team also isn't playing well because other teams are having just as bad a quarterback situations, and they're doing better than the Cowboys.
I know the Redskins didn't play, nor did Philadelphia, but between Philly and Washington, who has the arrow facing at least in somewhat of an upward directions out of those two?
I'd still say it's Philadelphia because they've run the ball well in 3 straight games, and that's the key for their offense, for their entire team. If they can run the football, they can run the type of system Chip Kelly wants to run. And so as long as the Eagles are run blocking well, I still like where their future is. And when it comes to Washington, I mean, yeah, okay, great, you guys came back against Tampa. Why were you behind by that much against that team in the first place? That's what people should really be asking.
All right, KC Joyner East says it was a really ugly weekend between one team scoring 49 and losing and the other team only giving up 13 and losing. I mean, boy, what a wild situation that was. 2 ugly teams. You got Philly and Dallas this week. All 4 of these teams really have an interesting. The Eagles have Dallas, Miami, Tampa Bay, and Detroit. This could be a situation for Philly to really start making some separation with that 4-game stretch right there.
Yeah, that is a favorable 4-game stretch. I mean, the Lions are probably that to be the worst team in the league, and Miami's playing better. But then, I think New England made them look human, which they could do to a lot of teams, but Miami didn't look anywhere near what they had been. So, and the Eagles again, if they can play their pace football, there aren't a lot of teams in the league if the Eagles are playing pace football that could keep up with them. New Orleans arguably could the way they played yesterday, but aren't many teams who can do that, and that's So I like the Eagles both from a matchup perspective, and if they can keep playing their sort of game, this could be one of those things where they're going to have a good late season run, which could like you said separate them from the rest of the division.
All right, couple quick things on the NFL week. Your thoughts on the game last night, because I was really surprised the way that Denver. I know they have good defense, but I was real surprised at not only the way they dominated that game defensively, the way they were able to move the ball with ease.
Yeah, the bye week did them a lot of good. I broke down their tape in the overnight for the running game. The running game for the first time this season had a 40% or higher good blocking rate. 40% that's the metric I had that measures run blocking effectiveness. 40% is the league average, and Denver had a couple games where they blocked above it, but they had games where they played below it. This first week they've had 2 games in a row that they've had that kind of a good block rate. So the run game's going. Pass game looked a lot better from a timing perspective, and the defense. They've got red-rated cornerbacks across the board. They between Roby and Harris and Talib, the red-rated cornerbacks are the toughest matchups you can have, and they've got 3 guys who could shut anybody down. So Green Bay just didn't have anywhere they could go, and they had no weakness to go after, and that's dangerous because if you get that run game going, it can keep the pass game going even at a decent level. You play with that defense, that's a team that can go toe-to-toe with anybody, including New England.
All right, couple quick hits. Thoughts on Atlanta?
Way too inconsistent. They look like world champs sometimes, and sometimes they look like an 0-16 team. They're not going to go very far.
Thoughts on Minnesota?
I'm going to be writing about them this week. I think they've got a brutal schedule, but they go in double-digit games and make the playoffs.
Last one here. Thoughts on Oakland?
David Carr is close to being a top 10 quarterback the way he's playing right now, and it's making all the difference when you've got that type of quarterback and you've got other players, and plus their defense is playing a heck of a lot better too. I mean, it looks like old school Oakland, I'll put it that way.
All right, KC Joyner will be back on Thursday. We'll look a lot deeper in the Eagles and the Cowboys. That one is a big one for Philadelphia. They could really put some separation between those two teams. Not really, actually. They're only one game apart. This is the NFC East as we know it, but it will feel a lot better on Monday if the Eagles can go down to Dallas and win for the second straight season. KC will be back on Thursday with more on that game. Thanks, pal.
I appreciate it.